Okay, here I'm going to guide you through this lab exercise, just answer some common questions that usually students have about this. So even though we don't actually use this in a class with your hands, you are going to be able to use this model through the Blackboard resources page. So make sure that you look through those pictures. They're really high quality images for you, and you're just kind of applying the figure from your textbook onto this model right here. Okay, so make sure that you look over those. Make sure you're looking at your histology file also. That is on Documents ICR in your textbook. In your Blackboard. All right, so here is this exercise 3, cardiovascular system and heart. It begins with this first paragraph where it has you fill in something. So make sure that you're answering in here, in here, and in here. And from the lecture today, you should already know what the answers are for this. Okay, the first two would be just one word, and for the capillaries, there would be kind of a phrase there. Okay, so if you forgot what it is, look in your textbook. Also, you can rewatch the video again. Okay. You should always read this. This is just a summary of what we have already talked about here in this paragraph. So I know, most of the time students just kind of skip over that and go to the part where they have to do stuff. But if you read, it will help you do stuff. Okay, so I would encourage you to make sure that you're reading these things. I give you figure references in your textbook here as well. You don't have to, we're not using the APR. I haven't taken that out of there, but we're just not doing APR. So instead of APR, always think visible body. There's a module on this invisible body. Go there, look at that before you're doing it. All right, so for the practice part right here, this is what is going to be the beginning to what the first part that you're really supposed to be drawing here. And that is this. So you have in this document, you have this basic diagram of the heart. And what you're doing with this is you're labeling this heart diagram. Anything that has an asterisk next to it. So see, like these, anything with that needs to be labeled on this picture. Okay. Oops, sorry. Don't know why we just jumped back there, but okay. Anything with an asterisk needs to be labeled in here. There are a few things that are not on this diagram. You will have to draw those in. For example, I'm asking you to label fossa ovalis, for example. That's not on this heart, but you know that fossa ovalis is on the right side, okay, it's on the right atrium, and it's somewhere here, okay? So you would draw it in, and then you would label this as fossa ovalis, okay? Opening of the coronary sinus is not there, okay? You would draw that in, label it as opening of coronary sinus, okay? You kind of get the gist of it. When you're labeling the picture, make sure that you're drawing lines to the side outside of the image, and then you add the label. Because sometimes people try to write like, you would draw it here and then you write fossa ovalis here, and it gets really messy if you're drawing on the picture itself. So look in your textbook, see how they're doing their labeling. It never goes through the image. You always have a clear line, and then it says what it is, kind of like what I did with these two, okay? Some other things that you need to be drawing in are the chordae tendineae are not drawn in here, papillary muscles. So when you're drawing papillary muscles, draw 3 on the right, 2 on the left, because that's how many there generally are in these. So that's kind of how you should be labeling that. All right. And yeah, there's like some other things that you will need to draw in, okay, but you'll kind of get the idea. If you are not sure, that you're doing this right, then make sure that you can take a screenshot, send it to me, and say, hey, am I kind of on the right track? You are more than welcome to color this. Some students do some excellent almost artwork with these, so you don't have to make yours artsy. Okay, it just has to be labeled and labeled clearly. And that's that for this image. And histology of the cardiac muscle here, make sure that you look at that histology file on your Blackboard. Again, it's in Documents ICR. It is called histology file. It is a large file, so it might download for many minutes. It might even take 5 or even 10 minutes, depending on your speed. And then save it to your computer. Just have it already downloaded. Don't try to re-download it. I mean, anytime it kind of opens, I think it saves to your downloads anyway. So the first, when you download it, it takes a long time for it to download, but once you have it, you should be good. And then look at the cardiac muscle there in that file, and that's what you would draw here. Okay, and that's that. What's next? Blood flow through the heart. This you don't really have to submit to me, but I do want you to practice with this. All right. So make sure that you are able to organize these into the right in the right order. And as I said in our live lesson today, there will be guaranteed that there will be a question that has you put these in order. Okay, so you do need to know how to put these in order. And that's that. Pericardium and layers of the heart. This is heart wall. This is where sometimes students get confused, because I'm asking you to draw. I'm asking you two things here. Okay, you're supposed to draw figure 19.8 in your textbook. So you find figure 19.8. This is, I believe it has the internal structures of the heart, and then on the bottom, it has the layers of the heart wall. So what you would have there in 19.8 is you have your endocardium, then there would be, how do I pick colors? I don't pick colors. Maybe I can't. You'd have your myocardium. Okay, yours would of course be prettier than mine, right? And then you'd have the endocardium. I mean, epicardium, sorry. Okay, so kind of like this. And then you label it again. You draw a line to it and say that's endocardium. Okay, this is myocardium. And then this is epicardium, right? Which is also known as the blah, blah, blah. You tell me, okay? Epicardium has a different name. Then you would draw, and I'm sorry, I don't think I can, oops, I can pick a different color. It only gives me these 3 color choices, the way I'm marking this up. But then you would have something else here. And then something over here, okay? Then you would label this space has a name. It's something, right? This space is some kind of a cavity. So blah, 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 cavity. You tell me. I don't want to do this all for you. I mean, I kind of already did it all for you, but then this is a part of serous pericardium. Which one? Is it the visceral or is it the parietal layer of the serous pericardium? Okay, so blank, blank, blank layer of serous pericardium, okay? And then this black part is the last of it, okay? And this is your fibrous pericardium. Okay, I kind of made my labels, some on top, some on bottom. You can label it whichever way you want, okay? What I want to point out though is that this part, and you don't, well, actually it would be nice if you showed that. Hold on. Why is it not working? Oh, you can't highlight if it's not on the word. It's interesting. Nope. Okay, I thought I could use a highlighter to show a different color, but I can't. So this, okay, so see, like obviously I can see that I did not make my labels very well, very good, because now I'm having a hard time showing you that this, where I made that bracket, that's the pericardium. And then this is the heart wall, okay? So your epicardium belongs into both. Okay, epicardium is part of the heart wall, it is also part of the pericardium, okay? It's belongs to both there, okay? So make your lines and labels better than mine so you can show that there as well. Okay, so that's that. But 19.8 doesn't have the rest of the pericardium, so you have to add the pericardial cavity, the parietal layer of the serous pericardium, and the fibrous pericardium to your drawing. Okay, so don't forget to add that part because 19.8 doesn't have that. And then the last part is on cardiac cycle and heart rate. So read this before you try to answer these questions. You're doing a virtual lab also, so think about this. You know, how did the heart rate change? I don't think the virtual lab is actually involving exercise. I don't remember, but you can just use your critical thinking and okay, after exercise, what does my heart do? What does my heart rate do? Does my heart rate increase when you exercise or decrease? That should be a pretty straightforward answer right there. And if you don't know, then do some jumping jacks and see what your heart rate does. What does your pulse rate do, okay, after exercise? And that's both of those. Then the last questions are, how should the length of cardiac cycle change after exercise? Cardiac cycle, when you do your reading before these questions, okay, it tells you what a cardiac cycle is. Okay, it's basically one heartbeat. Okay, in a nutshell. And I see I have a typo there for critical thinking. So if one cardiac cycle is all your chambers contracting and relaxing once, it's that one heartbeat. If after exercise your heart rate increased, then what does each cardiac cycle have to do? Okay, think about that. Or if your heart rate decrease after exercise, because you know you're supposed to tell me what it does, then what would each cardiac cycle? How would each cardiac cycle change after that exercise? And then the cardiac cycle is made out of systole and diastole of all your chambers, right? So systole is a part of cardiac cycle. So if a cardiac cycle increases, then your systole and diastole also increase. They have to, okay? If the length of cardiac cycle decreases, then both systole and this diastole have to be shorter as well because those are parts of your cardiac cycle, okay? So depending on what you say there for that cardiac cycle, the parts, if the whole thing increases, then the parts also have to increase, right? If the whole thing decreases, then the individual parts have to decrease as well, okay? If you're still not sure, before you answer this, you've got your computer in front of you. Research, okay? If the words that are before this are not explaining it right, and it's still not clicking, do your research, try to find out the correct answer. Don't just guess and just circle random thing, okay? That's not going to help you learn anything. And I know you know that. So that's that for exercise 3. I will be uploading exercise 4 for you. However, this one is not going to be for a grade. You're not going to be turning in the exercise 4. Exercise 4 is going to be a guide for you to know which vessels you are supposed to be able to identify on a picture or within the visible body. Okay, visible body might have a way more vessels than we need to know. So so that exercise 4 will be your guide. It's not due. It is your guide to know which vessels you have to be able to identify come exam. Okay, so that's that.